afternoon. I have invited Dr. Hanan Salim with me today. She's a very, very dear friend of mine. And you must have seen us a lot together on my social media. We are like tied together forever. She's a great health practitioner. She's a holistic health practitioner, actually. And she's been helping a large number of people in Dubai and all over the world because she is an international public speaker and a health consultant everywhere. She's been speaking even in Egypt, and we will talk about this with her. So she's here with us today to help us understand how we can improve our immune system, how we can control stress, how we can think more positively and improve the quality of our life during this home quarantine period. So she's your mentor today. Hello, Dr. Hanan. How are you?
Hi, Nousheen. Miss you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me and taking out the time.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Dr. Hanan is also the author of a wonderful book called Second Chances. I've read the book. It's amazing. It gives you very detailed guidelines on controlling your health life. So you should read it. We will start with this idea of how she conceived of the book and why she decided to write it. So Dr. Hanan, please tell us about Second Chances and why you decided to write it.
So yes, my name is Dr. Hanan Salim. I'm actually a PharmD or a PhD in pharmacy. I graduated St. John's University, Queens, New York. Grew up all my life, hence the Northeast New York accent. So I worked all my life in Manhattan hospitals, prestigious hospitals, and I was actually the chemotherapy pharmacist. And I worked on something called the P&T Committee, which is a Pharmaceutics and Therapeutics Committee. And that's about those doctors giving the best protocols, the exact therapies. They would be doing so well, but somehow, somewhere, they would come back a few months or even a few years later, having either who had was in remission from cancer now have end-stage cancer, given 6 months to a year to live. To diabetes patients who are doing so well, they would come back with gangrene, needing amputation, obesity, and all that. And it was always in the back of my mind, why is this happening? What am I missing? What are we missing as a healthcare team that we could help with these patients, that they don't have to come back and with these situations or their diseases with vengeance, if you will. So fast forward 10 years later, the bed kind of turned around on me, where I became the patient. So I had developed precancerous cells in my ovaries, endometriosis. I was 40 kgs heavier than this, high blood pressure, and so on. And of course, I am the clinical pharmacist. I was the experienced professional. I should get myself out of this, right? Yeah. And I had the team, the best team in Manhattan, to help me with this. Yeah. Nothing worked. Actually, in 3 months' time, my cancer indicators from 70 to 700.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I spoke to the best people and doctors and surgeons on my team, and they all gave me this really invasive measure that I really didn't want to go down to on that road, because then I would have to deal with other issues besides the situation I was in. And that led me to take control over my health and well-being. And I said, well, I won't do this invasive measure now. Just give me some time, go back to the drawing board. What am I missing? Give it, for myself. And this led me to, on this verge of this journey, where I discovered something called the mind-brain-organ connection. So what we were missing was not the root cause of the disease, and we were just looking at the symptoms and the organs, how we could deal with that with invasive measures and drugs and so on. So this led me to now create what I have today and write the book, Second Chances.
Second Chances, yeah.
I have a nice surprise for you, Nousheen. So for your audience, I have going to give my book during this epidemic to read and try to implement the tips and advice in the book for free.
Oh,
so I'm going to
wow.
share a link with
Yay,
you.
we got it.
I'm going to share a link with you that
Okay.
people download, read the book. There's actually some exercises in the back of the book that they actually do and start. So it's not just information, it's again implementation. So instead of waiting for the vaccine or waiting for the drug or whatever, start understanding what you could actually start doing for yourself in this situation to boost your immune system, to boost your health, your relationships, and that complete wheel of wellness.
Well, thank you so much. This is amazing.
Pleasure.
The story is quite interesting. So it all stemmed from your personal experience, your own suffering.
Yes, exactly.
And then you went towards research and finding your answers.
Yeah. So fast forward 17 years of research, and the biggest research, cutting edge, revolutionary research, epigenetics, something called the Institute of Noetic Sciences, something called I forget the top of my head right now, but there's actually some substantial Bruce Lipton, quantum physics. Yeah, that's the third one I mentioned. All these kept driving me to create the system that I have today that gets to the root cause, that has nothing to do with drugs, that has nothing to do with pills or surgery or anything like that. And it all has to do with changing your environment, that you surround yourself psychologically and physically.
Okay, all right. Something very different, because if you go to a normal doctor, there will be a prescription and lots of drugs that you need to depend on.
We give prescriptions, but the prescriptions we give is helping yourself. What our philosophy is, we already have the innate resources for our body to heal itself. Let me give you an example. If you get a cut and you're bleeding, right? Do you go to a doctor? No, you leave it, because what happens, your body knows the program. It goes straight to the cut, stops the bleeding, and creates a scab. And you could actually feel it at the time it's hot around the injury, and it swells a little bit, but at the end you get this small little scab, and then the scab goes away. So we already have this innate program that we're all born with, that I call in my research DNA excellence. So if we just get out of its way and let the DNA excellence do what it knows best, then you have no issues. Then you could actually be able to heal and boost your immune system without taking and swallowing all these different concoctions that causes actually more harm than good.
I got that. Great ideas. So, Dr. Hanan, how are you coping with the present situation? I cannot see you anymore unless it's a Zoom call.
I'm very busy, actually, doing lots of webinars and giving it's unfortunate that we have to be in this crisis for Healology to get all this attention and like everybody be focused on their health but it's human nature, right? When we're threatened or something is threatened, whether a relationship or a marriage or our finances or our business, is like, oh, this is our point of focus, right? So like the COVID-19 health and well-being is the point of focus because
now.
Everybody's afraid because they're threatened. Yeah. And it's
how can we find your webinars? Because all of us want to know more. So how can we find the webinars? There is a link for us.
I posted on all my social medias, actually. I have, my Dr. Hanan Salim is my link on all social media, on LinkedIn, Instagram, on Facebook, or even if you go to my website, www.drhanan.clinic. And another surprise for you, if people go there, there's actually a self-test progress report that you can get to know where you need to be focused in order to improve your health and well-being and boost your immune system. So no excuses, guys.
It's a free test.
It's a free test. I mean, the book is free, so I'm bringing everything for you to help you in during this epidemic. So all you have to do is implement. Please implement. Yeah.
Great, thank you. We want to know some tips. How can we improve our immune system? Some quick tips for us.
Okay, So I speak about part of my research is something called chronic biodisruption. Now, I don't, I really believe this COVID-19 is really not a virus. It's our body's response releasing these protein toxins that's affecting our health, and it's going after vital organs, including our lungs. So, what is it that is in your environment that's affecting you right now, right this minute? That's called chronic biodisruptors. It's like peeling an onion. The more we remove from our environment, the more our DNA excellence comes out and is able to boost our immune system, hence protect our health and well-being. So what would you think would be some chronic biodisruptors, right? So right here, right now, we're doing it. The laptop, the TV, your phone, right? These are something called electromagnetic sensitivity. And this, believe it or not, affects our cells. Now you got something called environmental stressors. What do I mean by that? I mean pesticides, I mean hormones, I mean, pollution, things like that. Emotional drivers is another one. So if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not eating well, if you're not if you're depressed or you're anxious or anything, all these things, when you combine them and they get on top of each other, it leads you to what we call a chronic condition. Hence it's called chronic biodisruption, because the rule is, it's not when you go to your doctor and you get a high glucose levels that you have diabetes. There's something called pre-diabetes, and pre-diabetes is 10 to 15 years in the making before you get diagnosed with diabetes. Also for cancer, the numbers are really scary, because it's 15 to 20 years of cancer in the making before you get diagnosed with a cancer indicator of cancer. Obesity is the same thing. So what it's teaching you is that what can you do today to get like the onion, remove all these environmental challenges or environmental stressors that boost your immune system and hence protect yourself from any of the virus, the bacteria, or disease.
Okay, so if you want a healthy life, we need to change the lifestyle, and we have to start now.
Yeah, and I have a research that shows that if you combine stress, anxiety, and depression, it's only 15% of what you need to do to improve your health and well-being. I could share that slide for you if you want to share it with the audience. People say sleep, that's only 10%. Activity is only 20%. Yes, they're important tools that we use, and nutrition, again, is only 20%. But what is the big thing that is actually driving us to havoc in our health and well-being is this chronic biodisruptors. It's 17 years of my research. Actually, it's interesting. It started with the blue zone countries that I was looking into when I was looking for a solution for myself during my health challenges. I don't know if you ever heard about the blue zone countries. So
no, tell us about it.
Okay, so in the US, there were some scientists thought, there were certain populations across the world that were living 100 and beyond. So they started to wonder, what is it that they're doing, or what is it in their environment that they're doing, that they're healthy, they don't have any diseases, they don't have any of the chronic conditions, they don't have any issues with their health and well-being, and they die of natural causes. They go to sleep and they never wake up, kind of thing. So they went and researched these 7 countries, and guess what? These 7 countries is not technologically advanced, and it's not those first world countries. As you already see in the US and Europe and all these advanced countries, these are the populations that are highest in obesity, highest in diabetes, highest in cancer, and so on and so forth. So technology is just because we have advancements in technology, we're standing at a standstill in our healthcare. Now, the point I wanted to mention with the blue zone countries is this is what led me to go above and beyond and wonder, okay, so this is what they're eating, this is how they're sleeping, this is the way they're eating and everything. So what is in their environment that's protecting them as well, that they don't have, but we have in these advanced countries? And I realized that they didn't have any of these chronic vital disruptors in their environment, but we do on a high level in these advanced first world countries.
Yeah, but some of these disruptors are the essentials. Like right now, we are depending on technology a lot.
Yes.
And it's beyond our control. Like if we don't use it, we'll be completely cut off and be in our boxes. So what do we do? How do we control that?
Okay, so you could reduce it. Okay, so instead of sitting in front of the TV 24/7, figuring out or trying to get that next statistics or that next number of the how many died from COVID-19 or what is the new cases in COVID-19. First of all, it causes a lot of stress. It causes a lot of anxiety. It causes these bio disruptors, right?
Yeah.
That are not going to help you. If anything, it's gonna give you more susceptibility to your immune system, right? So also, I see a lot of people when they're going to sleep, they're charging their phones next to them, right? In case they get a call or a message or
many people are even sleeping with their phone.
Exactly, and their laptops. I see my son way back, he used to sleep and the headphones are in his ear and the laptop is on his stomach, right? I was like, what are you doing? So yeah, so it's not rocket science, by the way. There's simple things that really, and this is the point of Healology, is that you look at the undercurrents, look at your habits that are not gonna, hey, this is what I'm doing wrong. It's those habits that you do on a daily basis that you don't really recognize and see, but they are actually harming you and accumulating, that causes a deficiency in your health and well-being. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So it's more of self-discipline that everybody needs.
So what I would do, and I suggest, so just like, you can't go to your doctor and say, Doc, I have the symptoms, I'm drinking lots of water, I'm going to the bathroom a lot, I'm doing this and that, and then it'll say, oh, you have diabetes. No, it doesn't work like that, right? There has to be a benchmark, right? You have to have a benchmark of where you are and where you
want to be
at that particular phase, if you will, in your therapy or in your healing process or whatever you want to call it. So this is a really good time for people to take it takes 5 minutes to go to my website, just take the test, it's free, and you'll understand what is happening, what level you're at, and understand what might be in your environment that you could actually do now to remove that. It improves your health and well-being, hence your immune system.
Right. It's as easy as that.
Easy. Because, it's why I say it's DNA excellence. Just like you and I know that tomorrow the sun will come out and this evening the moon will come out. It'll be dark, okay? It's universal law, okay? Yeah. So if you go to the doctor and you're pressing on this wound, I mean, there's a joke about it in the medical field, and you go to your doctor and you say, oh, doctor, when I press here, it hurts. And the doctor says, don't press there. Yeah. It's really as simple as that. Like, what is it what's happening underneath that's causing the pain that we could alleviate, that won't need you to go and take, like, a vaccine or a concoction that your pharma is trying to sell you so they could make more money for their pocket, or whatever the politics is. Why get into all that? You already have the innate resources, the responsibility, and you're programmed to heal yourself. So why don't you just get yourself out of your way, or your habits out of your way, and understand what is the program that you can do to improve your health and well-being. It's simple. It's really simple. I mean, when I was going through this journey and I started with this health issues, I went to the best, right? Because I believed, like, if you have so many doctor degrees after your names and so many letters after your name, you're a good doctor, right?
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, I went to 4 surgeons, right? And what are they going to give me if they're a surgeon? It's a surgery, right? It's their
Yeah.
bread and butter, right?
Yes.
I mean, now I'm like, how stupid am I? Like, okay, you're going to a surgeon, and what else is he going to give you? Vitamin C? Of course not. He's going to recommend a surgery, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, do the needful. Take
Yes.
control over your health and well-being. Don't give it up because I'm not saying that surgeon is deceiving you or not giving you the truth or anything, but that's what he's saying, right? If X and Y you're in this situation, if the labs say this and your diagnosis and prognosis say that, then equals this surgery or this invasive measures. That's how they operate. That's how I used to operate. Yeah. But it doesn't need that because unfortunately, from my profession, being a clinical pharmacist, we're using 60 to 70-year-old drugs, medicines. Okay? The example of diabetes, if you go to a doctor, the first mode or the first thing he'll prescribe to you is something called glucophage. Yeah. Glucophage is the first step in the protocol. If even before you even get your lab work, you just take this and go on a diet if you're obese or whatever, and that's what the advice you get from the doctor. Yeah. So glucophage was actually manufactured in 1958, and it's still used till today as the first mode of therapy. I mentioned that I come from the chemotherapy. I used to make chemotherapy for cancer patients. Cytoxin and all these drugs that are used till today for chemotherapy was actually created and manufactured post World War II.
Yeah, so that's a long time back.
60 to 70 years. Now take your mobile, okay? So I don't know where we're up to on iPhones now. Are we up to XR or 11? I don't know. I still am at an iPhone X. But if we took our iPhone, actually our iPhone was discovered in 1973. So see, it's like this big bulky thing, right? See how if you take the iPhone, how small it is and how much you could do. It's like a mini computer now. How far we've come in technology versus we're still using 60, 70 year old drugs for important things like cancer and diabetes. And no wonder the numbers are getting worse. And last year, it used to be 1 in 3 patients who will get diagnosed with cancer. This year, and the new research shows that it's 1 in 2 patients. So if you're sitting in a restaurant or a classroom, if it's not you, if it's not the person next to you that's going to be possibly or probably get cancer, then it's you. I mean, I just want to bring it home what these numbers mean. Yeah. So COVID, huh?
It's quite sad.
It's crazy, and the numbers are getting worse. I mean, if you're worried about COVID-19, I mean, look at the numbers of statistics, how many cancer patients die every year. Look at the diabetes patient. Look at the, flu. 1 million die every year. So to be honest, COVID-19 is yes, it's a wake-up call, but compared to the numbers of people dying to COVID-19 versus cancer and all these chronic conditions, it's the numbers. I mean, they are strong. It's huge.
Huge, yeah. So preventive healthcare measures are the best measures.
Yes, I always tell my clients, okay, it's an American saying, actually, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. What that means is, if you want a cure for cancer, if you want a cure for diabetes, if you want a cure for obesity, don't get it in the first place. That's really what it means. So the best cure out there that we have for any of these chronic conditions and immunity is don't get yourself in that situation to begin with, and take precautions, do what you can, get out of the chronic biodisruptors, educate yourself, take control over your health and well-being.
Right. Now, one personal question. Who's your best inspiration?
My best inspiration? Bruce Lipton.
And why is that?
So a lot of people are into Tom Cruise and they think he's, he's hot or I mean, this guy's mind is really a turn on. I mean, this guy, his brain and his science. And I just, I'm a very advocate, favorite, big fan of Bruce Lipton. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What is the first thing you love to do in the morning?
The first thing I love to do is something called brain training.
Mhm.
Because that gets me right on the focus, get my energy up, and without even reaching for my first cup of tea. I'm not a coffee drinker, which is a blessing.
It is a
Um,
blessing.
so I'll give this to you guys as well if you want to give it a try. And it gets you out of
Tell us about it.
anxiety and depression, huh?
We want to know how.
Okay, so in the morning, before you get up or anything, while you're sitting in your bed, you count from 100 to 1 backwards. 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, and so on. Okay, it's a 30-day exercise, by the way. So the first 10 days, you count from 100 to 1. The next 10 days, you count from 50 to 1 backwards. And the last 10 days, you count from 10 to 1 backwards. What is it doing? It's actually getting you on a certain brainwave that's called the gamma brainwave. And what does this gamma do? It releases these happy chemicals like serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine. Your brain cannot be one or the other at the same time. So why don't we keep your brain on the happy side versus the negative side? And this brain training allows you to stay focused, stay on that, seeing the half full cup instead of the half empty cup, if you will, and gets you more focused and energized without caffeine,
Very
which is,
interesting.
yeah, thank
Thank you
you.
for the tip. It's amazing. I am going to try it in the morning.
It's amazing. I mean, I've used it. I mean, it's simple, but I've used it for people who are really depressed, who are very anxious, and who are getting stuck, if you will, in their head or in the negativity. And this gets you out really quick.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Hanan. We will stay in touch and definitely call you again for more advice on how we
Absolutely.
can stay fit and healthy.
I'll share the link with you for
Yes,
the.
yes, definitely. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
You're welcome. Take care.